Good Sunday morning, Northeast Ohio, as the roller coaster ride that is 2020 continued this week with twists and turns that really none of us are quite ready for. All playing out 30 days now before the start of the election, 2 days before the start of early voting. So let's start there. Particularly here in Cuyahoga County, where roughly a third of all voters have asked to vote by mail. That's a 50% and counting increase over 2016. The breakdown of those requesting ballots shows nearly 68% of Democrats, 47% of Republicans, and 20.7% of nonpartisans. Again, the largest voting bloc asking to vote by mail. Now, before Friday's news of the president testing positive for coronavirus, the news cycle had been dominated this week by Tuesday night's debate here in Cleveland. It was marked by President Trump and former Vice President Biden talking over each other, and moderator Chris Wallace looking to maintain order. The day after, I spoke with former Vice President Joe Biden about the debate that went off the rails as we fittingly rode out of town on a train. Any regrets on your part? Anything that you said?
No. I mean, what I regret is we didn't actually get a chance to spend as much time talking to the American people and telling them what we were going to, each of us were going to do.
We have a Supreme Court nominee, could be voted on before the election, could decide the election. How concerned are you that this is a race that may not be decided by 130 million Americans, but 9?
Well, it concerns me a great deal. The Constitution calls for the American people to have a say in who's on the court, and the way they do that is by who they elect as senators and who they elect as president. Now, a president's elected for 4 years. If it comes up in a time frame that in fact is not where the new election has already begun, they've already spoken. But the election has already begun. Millions of people have already voted. This is contrary to the intent of the Constitution. I think it's a travesty. I don't think it should happen. There's so much at stake. And the biggest thing at stake is health care. These are decisions that people should have a say in, and that's why it should wait.
And again, throughout the campaign, whenever the candidates are in Northeast Ohio, be it Donald Trump, Joe Biden, or their running mates, News 5 reaches out for the chance to do these one-on-ones, and we take advantage of them when they are granted. Well, last week in this time, we talked about the fact that Ohio was running neck and neck, looking at some of the polls that had it that way. Well, this week, the toss-up tag can once again be applied to the state. Since 2004, presidential elections have been about
Ohio.
We were a bellwether that could go either way. But with Donald Trump's 8-point win in 2016 here, the shift to leans Republican had been pretty much cemented. But the University of Virginia Center for Politics, which has been rating such races for years, has shifted Ohio back to toss-up, fueled by 3 polls last week that showed Joe Biden leading or leading within the margin of error.
Toss-up is what that is. Toss-up means you can't tell which way it's going to go. And the polling data is remaining pretty steady, at least in the last few weeks.
The split between the two was evident in Alliance on Wednesday as we rode with Joe Biden on his whistle-stop tour from Cleveland, a train greeted by what seemed to be an equal number of supporters for both candidates. That's why Trump's senior advisor, Bob Paduchik, still sees the state as red.
I think we're in a great position right now. The enthusiasm, the level of activity in our campaign is much better than it was in 2016. And I think we're going to win the state very big.
Senator Sherrod Brown sees it differently.
I think there's no question that Biden not just has a fighting chance in Ohio, I think he's going to win Ohio.
His opinion from the perspective of a Democrat who ran statewide in Ohio 2 years after President Trump's 2016 win and won his race with the support of many voters who went with Trump, who he believes will vote for Joe Biden. Bottom line, Tom Sutton says America will look to Ohio on election night for this reason. Biden doesn't need the state to win. Donald Trump does.
If Biden wins Ohio, given the 8-point win by Trump 4 years ago, Biden most certainly will win the rest of the country because it's become a more Republican, more conservative state, even in the last 4 years.
With Democracy 2020, I'm John Kasich. Enjoy your Sunday. Stay safe.